Namaskar and welcome to StudyIQ. I am your friend Rahul Saigaonker. Today I'm starting a short series for UPSC Civil Services Mains 2023. I received a couple of requests from aspirants who have been asking me to discuss some of the important topics which are relevant from science and technology perspective for the upcoming mains examination. You already know that UPSC Civil Service Examination 2023, its prelims is over, results are also out, people are preparing for mains. And the mains timetable has also been released. This year, the mains is going to start from 15th September 2023. On 15th, there is essay paper, paper 1. On 16th, two papers, GS paper 1, GS paper 2. And on 17th, there are two papers, GS 3 and GS 4. And this particular series is going to help you to enhance your knowledge, enhance your database, and perhaps write good answers for this particular paper, GS paper 3 on 17/9/2023. So what is the plan of action in this series? It's going to be a short series where I'll be discussing some of the important topics based on my own discretion and my own experience, which will be very relevant for UPSC mains. Again, on 17/9/2023. But today we are going to plan, or today we are going to analyze what can we expect in GS paper 3. I'm quite sure you must have done your own research. Those who are preparing for mains, you already have a lot of advanced knowledge, good database with you. But in this series, I'll be discussing some of the core topics which we can anticipate, which are very important from current affairs perspective, which we can anticipate appearing in the mains. All right. Today we'll plan a little. I'll tell you about the series itself in short. I'll try to wind up the series before the end of this month itself, so you'll have appropriate time, proper amount of time for preparation. Before I begin, I have to put in a cautionary note. Normally what happens with students is, if they see something new, for example, if you're looking at this and you'll see, okay, sir has discussed so many other things, sir has discussed a lot of data, do not get overwhelmed by all those things. Do not take up any new things. My intention here is to simply complement whatever you have studied till now. It's not to overwhelm you with a lot of data. You need to remain confident. You need to give yourself credit. You need to give credit to your preparation. What we are doing here is we are simply giving you some supplementary information which would be very relevant for you to enhance your knowledge and perhaps write good answers. That's the basic intention. After this series, people should not feel, or students should not feel, that I'm losing confidence because sir has given so much of details. No, do not do that. Because of course, one particular topic would be taken, we'll analyze that in a thorough manner, where I'll be giving you some suggestions, maybe some extra readings which you can do it in say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. Okay, do not waste too much of time on reading new things. This is not the time to read new things. This is the time to consolidate and revise. All right, with that note, let's begin. Now you do understand the syllabus for mains. For GS paper 3, it says technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security, and disaster management. So I will be discussing only about this particular part. I hope that your preparation is going on really well, because GS paper 3, it has questions connected to economy, it has questions connected to environment, it has questions connected to disaster management, and then you have science and technology as well. And if you analyze the question papers from past almost 10-15 years, you will understand science and technology questions, you will have at least 3 to 4 questions which amount to about 40 to 50 marks, which is going to make or break your selection. So you need to focus on this. And many students, they try to avoid this. They think that, okay, it's really easy, I can scrape through it, whatever questions comes, let me just check, because I'll focus on the other parts. Please try to understand, in UPSC preparation, focus on your syllabus and plug the loopholes. Do not neglect any topic. All right. So if you look at science and technology, as I told you, we'll try to look at some of the previous year's questions and analyze. Were they really tough? Because in this particular session, what we are doing is we are analyzing the paper so that you'll be mentally prepared to understand what to expect from this. All right. Now, if you look at the last year exam, 2022 mains, there were some questions, again, which were relatively easy. In science and technology, I have always seen that there are very easy questions. You will have knowledge about them. You just need to consolidate, and present it in a decent way to make it a good answer. But there are some questions which I call them googly, and in science and technology there are many googlies in the last 10-15 years. At least one question is something which is from current affairs, which many students neglect and they think that okay, it's a googly. But if you prepare current affairs thoroughly, that googly can also be turned in your advantage itself. All right. So if you look at 2022 paper, this was a very general question. I think basic biology knowledge, using basic biology knowledge, you can answer. It talks about a lot of cellulose material and what are the natural processes through which it decomposes basically before yielding carbon dioxide, water, and basic products. What processes it goes through. You can talk about microorganisms. You can discuss about fermentation, aerobic respiration, anaerobic respiration. So many things. Again, very generic question. This question quite anticipated because COVID-19 vaccines were a lot in news in 2021, 2022. So this talks about vaccine development, current affairs based question. This is also current affairs based question, which after interacting with many students last year, I found out they found this question very tough. This was a kind of googly question. Yes, they knew about James Webb Telescope, but they did not get enough fodder or enough information about James Webb Telescope so that they have a comparative data with other telescopes. Now that was something which was missing, and that's why many people felt it was a googly. But again, current affairs based question. So 3 questions. If you see the marks, I would say 40 marks last year. 2021 relatively easy. S400 again in news. This was current affairs based question. Micro irrigation, this is with agriculture, very easy question you can attempt. And again a question on applied biotechnology, a general question. What are the research and developmental achievements in applied biotechnology? I would consider this question very easy because by now you must have a lot of information on biotechnology. There was one more question which discussed about Nobel Prize of 2014. Now looking at 2014, many people they were a little flustered. They thought, okay, this was the googly question for 2021, but it talks about the blue LED and how it has impacted our everyday life. Again, if you had read about current affairs, you would have read about the new kind of digital technologies, digital development, the new screens, the AMOLED screens, etc. It was okay to attempt this, right? In 2020, again, this was a very easy question. Nanotechnology, I would say easy. This is a very basic question without any sort of preparation. Even a non-aspirant can write this. This is a very generic question connected to SNT. It says that how is science interwoven deeply with our lives? This I call it as a freebie from UPSC. There was one more question about cyber crimes. Every time it is there. Again, an overlap between information and communications technology from SNT and internal security. Easy question. And again, an anticipated question from current affairs connected to COVID-19. All right. 2020 relatively easy. 2019 we saw again mostly current affairs based. India's own space station. I hope you already have information about this. Then Cyberdome project. This was current affairs. Cyberdome project of Kerala. Can biotechnology improve living standards? I would say this was a freebie from UPSC. One question which students found tough in 2019 was this: contributions of Sir M. Vishweswaraya and MS Swaminathan in fields of engineering and agricultural science. Again, if you have information, easily you can attempt it. If you look at 2018, again, very easy question. One connected to biotechnology, how it has impacted the biopharma field. Another one, very easy question, nuclear energy program of India. What are the facts and fears about nuclear energy? I would say a freebie or a very easy question to attempt. One question which people found tricky in 2018 was this: Bose-Einstein statistics and how did it revolutionize the field of physics? The information about Bose-Einstein statistics is given in NCERT basic book, but to attempt this answer you need a little bit of knowledge about how it has impacted the field of physics, right? So I can say this was a googly kind of a question in 2018. Same if you look at 2017, stem cell biotechnology expected from current affairs. India's mission, again, I can say this question can appear, or this question is very, very logical for 2023 as well. India has achieved remarkable success in unmanned space mission, including Chandrayaan and Mars orbiter mission, but has not ventured into manned space mission. So critically examine why it is very tough to go for or develop a manned mission. Yes, we are planning a manned mission which is called as Gaganyaan. You do know that, right? So this question would be very relevant even for 2023, I would say. Apart from that, this is a very easy question, right? This is an easy question. So 2027 was not very tough, no googly kind of a question. 2026, again, a question connected to nanoscience and technology, I would say easy. A question connected to space science and technology, what have been India's achievement? Very easy. I would say it is static part. If you have read about India's missions, India's achievement, it was very easy to attempt. Two easy questions, and then one kind of googly question connected to agriculture, though. What is allelopathy? And believe me, I was right here. I was writing this mains, and when I read this allelopathy question, I was like, okay, what is this allelopathy? It was helpful for me because I had read about this because I had prepared for forest service exam as well. So this was an easy question for me, but many found it really tough at that time. If you look at 2025, again, standard kind of questions, prohibitive labor that can be sustainably managed by robots. Again, this was in the current affairs itself. The question can be connected with manual scavenging, right? Some of the prohibitive labor that can be managed by robots. This was an easy question, considering if you prepare for current affairs in a thorough way. Apart from that, discuss the advantages, security implication of cloud hosting of servers vis-a-vis in a house machine based on hosting for government businesses. A little tricky question, but ICT based question. What do you understand by standard positioning system? This was easy because of Navik, IRNSS Navik. Again, current affairs based question. Now, you must be thinking, so what are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? You have simply showed me some questions from past years. You are not even discussing the answers. Right now, I am not going to discuss this because the time is very short for doing this particular analysis. My prime focus is to make you understand what can we expect in the paper so that you do not get scared by looking at some of the topics, by looking at the questions. And in the subsequent classes, of course, we are going to talk about different topics and probable questions or kind of questions that can be set. All right. What have we understood from this? What have we understood from this? Or what has been my own experience, my own observation from all these things is GS paper 3 is quite scoring. If you look at average marks in GS paper 3, I would say many people would cross 100 very easily in GS paper 3. If you prepare soundly for economy, disaster management, and your environment based question, agriculture based questions, and science and tech, you can easily cross 110 as well, around 120. It is quite achievable. All right. So it is quite scoring. So do not neglect this particular paper. The next pointer is every year you are getting somewhere between 40 to 50 questions. That means 1/5 of the question paper itself is science and technology. So you cannot ignore it. And there is no need to prepare in a special way. What we have observed from all these questions, majority of the questions in the last 7 to 8 years have been focusing on current affairs. And if you're preparing current affairs thoroughly, say 1.5 years, 2 years of current affairs, then you would be good to attempt these questions. And there is one more thing what I have observed from these questions is be ready for certain surprises, because there can be some things which you might have missed in your current affairs. This happens with many aspirants. Those who have read those concepts, for them it becomes an easy question because they know about it. For example, I think one of the questions was connected to Cyber Dome project. Many people from Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, etc., they were able to answer it, or they knew about Cyber Dome project because it was connected to Kerala. But many others, they found it tough. What was Cyber Dome project? It was a news from Kerala. It was some sort of a PPP model for enhancing cyber security, right, to fight cyber crimes. A very, very good initiative. So such kind of questions, some people might find tough, some people might find easy. If you have read that in current affairs, it becomes relatively easier. All right. So be ready for surprises. Why I'm telling this? Because I have a few things before I begin this series itself. From the next session, from tomorrow, we are going to talk about some important topics. But before that, some golden words from my side. First thing is, how do you approach the paper? If you have a rigid stance, that whatever happens, I am going to attempt 20 questions. That rigid mindset is not going to help you, because you saw, especially in GS paper 3, there might be some googlies or some sort of surprises which UPSC can spring on you. So be ready for those, and do not have a rigid number. But I would say, to be on a safer side, the minimum questions that you should attempt is this. Even if you let go one question, where if you think that you do not have content, or if you think it's kind of tough, or if you are not able to manage time, but have a target of at least 18 questions. That means, I would say, 6 questions every hour. You have 3 hours. So in 3 hours, you have to write 20 questions. So 6 questions every hour is equal to 18 questions. If you have 5-10 minutes time left, around 5 minutes time left, you can attempt another one. So have a flexible mindset. Do not go with rigid, I have to attempt all 20. It is going to put a lot of pressure on you. Do not go below 18 also. Please keep a note of that. All right. What I am trying to tell you is, it is very fine if you let go even one question. Fine. Do not put too much pressure on yourself. Clear? So approach should be a little flexible, just a little flexible, not too much flexible. You say, okay, fine, I'll write only 15 questions. That should not be the approach. Okay, clear? Now, the second thing is, start with 15 markers. You must have seen there are so many questions that we discussed. Some are, okay, before 2016, from 2017, they have started this 10-15 model. You do know that. So focus more on 15 markers initially. Even for science and technology, for whatever it is, start with your 15 marker questions. This is a general or common sense based tip. Why? Because if you focus on 15 and finish off the last 10, even if you take, say, about 2 hours for that, a little less than 2 hours, that is very fine. Because the next 10 questions, initial 10 questions, they have a word limit of only 150, which you can easily move through. Okay, so pick these. Scoring in these and getting higher marks in this is going to benefit you a lot in terms of enhancing your score. All right. Next, time management. Please, this is very, very important. That's why I told you, do not have a very rigid approach. If you have a flexible approach, and if you have prepared your time management skills, that is approximately, I would say, 6.5 questions every hour, then you're good to go. You will be finishing the paper very, very easily. The ideal scenario is attempt all the 20 questions. Okay, ideal scenario, the best case scenario. But even if you're missing out one, it's very fine. Do not be very harsh or very hard on yourself. Okay, right? Time management is extremely important. Now, why I'm telling this, whenever you get any topic, there is something written here called as think before you ink. If you think you know a topic, you start writing. Do not do that. Especially some questions are very generic. You must have seen that there are questions connected to nanotechnology, very generic, biotechnology, quite generic. Then you have got nuclear science, nuclear technology, very generic kind of question, where they are trying to ask you about what have we achieved in terms of nuclear capabilities, what have we achieved in terms of our space capabilities, what has India done for nuclear science and nuclear, not nuclear science, nanoscience and nanotechnology. So generic kind of questions. You think I have already prepared for it, I'll start writing. But you need to understand that there are some fine lines or keywords in these questions as well. You need to focus on those and address the question appropriately. Now, this happens to most of the students when they know the topic. This is called confirmation bias. You think I know the topic, I'll start writing. And I always tell, UPSC is not asking what you know. UPSC is asking you to write what they have asked. Clear? This is the golden line for every aspirant. Do not try to impress the evaluator by showing excess of knowledge that you have. There is no need of all those things. You need to focus on writing what has been asked, not to tell what you know. Clear? So try to find out the keywords. Try to find out, for example, if this is a question, I told you this is very relevant for 2023 as well, because right now Chandrayaan 3 is about to land. Probably in the next 24 hours we'll know what will happen. So fingers crossed, touch wood, everything goes good, right? So Chandrayaan, we have achieved success with it. Chandrayaan 1 at least. Chandrayaan 2 was partial success. Mars orbiter mission we have completed. Chandrayaan 3, hopefully it will be a a glaring success in the coming days. So manned mission Gaganyaan, what are technicalities with it? A question can be framed. What are the technical aspect or technical difficulties that the country is facing with Gaganyaan? And what can we achieve? Say, for example, if I have already conducted a manned mission, what is the benefit of that? I have simply sent people to space. What is the benefit of that? Is there any socio-economic benefit to people of India? Such questions can come up. So try to be ready for those. Try to understand why has not India ventured into manned space from that year perspective, 2017. They are asking specially two terms, in terms of technology and in terms of logistics. So try to frame your answer before you start writing this is a problem, that is a problem. Try to have a framework in your head, in your brain, that I am going to focus, or I'm going to write some aspects where I'm going to talk about technical or technological difficulties that we have. Then I'll also focus on logistical difficulties, some pointers for this, some pointers for this, which makes the answer much more coherent. Clear? So think before you ink. Ensure that you read the question carefully, you find out the keywords, and I always tell brainstorm. Even if you're brainstorming in your head itself, if you're not writing on the paper, that is also very fine. But have a framework of the answer that you're writing or how you're going to present those things. All right. So these are some of the initial words that I have to tell you. Apart from that, going forward, our focus would be on these topics, because what we have analyzed is these are the topics, or under this framework, if you prepare, will be more or less ready for science and technology part of GS paper. All right. Right. So we'll meet very soon in the next class. And if you have any queries, any doubts, you can always reach out to me on this particular ID at the rate Rahul Sai 222. So I'll see you in the next class, where we'll discuss about the most likely topic which we can anticipate for mains 2023. Thank you again. Jai Hind.